Well, joining me live now is the Deputy Opposition Leader Richard Marles. Richard, good to see you after a little while. How are you doing?
I'm doing okay, Pete. It's my symptoms for COVID haven't been too bad so far, but talking to lots of people who've gone through it, do feel that sense of fatigue pretty easily, but I'm not so bad.
What are the
Looking forward to
symptoms?
getting out on Friday.
I bet you are. What are the symptoms that you've got?
Well, it's really a little bit of a cough, a bit of congestion, but the main thing which a lot of people talk about is just having fatigue if I do too much. So I've been doing bits of housework around the house, putting out the washing, that kind of stuff that people do. It doesn't take me long for it to catch up, and I need to go and have a lie down. So that's probably the worst of it at the moment. But,
Okay.
yeah, but not too bad.
Oh, well, okay. Well, good to hear you're on the mend. Now into the nitty-gritty. Jason Clare has said this morning that homeowners under your scheme who die can only pass that home onto their children if they meet eligibility criteria. If they don't, if the son or daughter earns more than $90,000 a year, that house will be sold with the government taking its share. Is that not a death tax?
No, it's not. That's not right at all. And in fact, the child in that circumstance would have the opportunity of buying the government out so that they own the home outright, which is the same as if the people themselves during the course of their life no longer qualify for the property. I mean, this is a scheme which is designed for people on low and modest incomes who really face a lifetime of rental right now, which gives them a genuine option of owning their own home. Now, if during the course of their life they acquire wealth, which means they themselves no longer qualify for the scheme, well, then in that circumstance, they would need to be buying out the government, and that's fair. So it puts them on the same footing as anyone else who has means. And that's the way it would apply in relation to their children. So if children who have means, want to keep the house in the family, that can be done.
What if they can't afford it, though?
Well, the point of this scheme is to provide an option for people who face a lifetime of rental. This actually gives people an option, gives the people who would otherwise be renting an option, and it will give their family an option in the future. And obviously, if their children also qualify for the scheme in circumstances where they are of low and modest incomes, well, then they're able to maintain the property in that way, and the property can pass on to them.
But what if the child earns more than $90,000, which means that they wouldn't qualify for the scheme? What if they can't afford to buy out the home?
Well, the scheme applies in the way in which I've described it. But let's just think about this, Pete. The alternative here is that there is no home and there is no decision that child has to make because no one's owning anything. We've got a situation now where people on low and modest incomes face a lifetime of rental, face no opportunity to pass anything on to kids because there is absolutely no way in which they can get into the housing market. And this is a means by which a whole lot of people who would otherwise be in that rental situation now have an option to own a home. And let's also be clear, this is not a radical new suggestion. Scott Morrison, in a previous life, has supported shared equity schemes. We've got state governments which are implementing them, and they're doing them well. Victoria, WA, Tasmania, New South Wales have said they're going to walk down this path as well. And this is us saying that if we were elected, we would take the Commonwealth down this path so that it would give this option to a whole of low and middle income earners,
but if you say
earners who wouldn't have it.
But I mean, on the point of passing the home down, I just want to be clear here because I'm a bit confused. If they have the option of buying out the home from you, but they earn more than $90,000 and they can't afford to buy it off you, will you then sell it?
Well, the proposition here is that if the home if the child qualifies, the home gets passed on. That's simple.
Yeah, that's fine.
If the child doesn't qualify,
but yeah, this is the crux here.
If the child doesn't qualify, well, then those kids would have those kids would have an option of buying the government out.
But what if they can't afford that, though? What if they can't afford it?
Well, if they don't take up that option, then they don't take up that option. In which case, the property would then be sold. But that there is the option as there is for somebody who acquires wealth within their own life.
But $91,000. I mean, it's not someone's not rich if they're earning $91,000. In fact, that's an average wage. Why sell something that they are inheriting?
Well, it's certainly not wealthy, and that's why we're developing a scheme it gives people an option where they would otherwise be facing a lifetime of rental. And that's the point here. No one's owning anything right now. This is giving people an option to get into the housing market. And obviously, no one's forcing anyone to walk down this path. This is an option that will be provided to people with the scheme as it's set out. And we expect people will want to take it up as they've taken it up under the various states' schemes right now. So this gives people choices. Where right now, people on low and modest incomes facing rising house prices are really looking at spending a lifetime of rental, and they never have the opportunity to own a home.
Yeah, but I mean, back to my first question though, if you sell it, that's a death tax.
It's absolutely not a death tax. This is an opportunity to own property, and that's what this scheme provides for.
But by forcing the sale, and this comes after years of hard work and hard payments that we all understand, how is that a reward for aspiration?
Well, because right now there is no opportunity to get into the home market for people on low and middle incomes. That's what we're talking about. We're talking about the people who are facing a lifetime of rental, where they're paying somebody else's mortgage by paying that rent. There is no opportunity to aspire in those circumstances. This gives people an option to earn equity in a home, which obviously they would be passing on, even in the circumstances in which you describe.
Unless they earn, but if they earn too much, then they can't.
No matter what, they're passing on the equity. I mean, even in the circumstances in which you describe, there will be an equity which comes out of this, which will then be passed on to their children. So they will have gained equity in a property. But this is, right now, people are getting no opportunity to do this at all. And no one. This is not a scheme which is going to be compulsory. This is going to be an option for people. We expect people to take it up as they have taken it up with the various state schemes that are out there.
Okay, just a final one here, Richard. Labor's pitch this election is to make life cheaper, but there may well be a rate rise today. There may well be rate rises all the way until Christmas this year. You can't guarantee that life will be cheaper under a Labor government, can you?
Well, there are a number of measures that we can guarantee. We're going to make childcare more affordable. I mean, that is our policy, one of our earliest policies that we put in place, because we know how important that cost is for families, because we know how important it is to give those who are staying at home looking after children an opportunity to get back into the workforce. We're going to get wages going again. We're going to get wages going again by revitalising Australian industry, the very industry which we've seen go backwards under this government as they goaded the car industry offshore and have taken Australia to a point now where we rank dead last in the OECD in terms of manufacturing capability. We're going to revitalise Australian industry and we're going to get wages going again. I mean, that stands in complete contrast to this government, which said that low wages were a design feature of their government. We're also going to get people the skills they need so they can get the jobs which pay decent money. So we've got plans to deal with the question, of the cost of living and making life better for people, making it easier for them to make ends meet. But what we've seen with this Prime Minister is that when the going gets tough, he is never there to accept responsibility. He's always there to claim the credit in the good times, never in the bad times. And while we acknowledge there's a whole lot of factors which go into the question of interest rate rises, this all feeds into a cost of living crisis, which is happening under this government. And at the heart of that is real wage decline, something which this government said was a design feature of their economy.
Okay. Richard Marles, good to see you up and about. Thanks for your time this morning. We'll talk to you soon.